Hello, you all. Thank you for coming back and clicking on this channel. My name is Vanessa. I want to pick up where we left off last week. Last week I was in the book of Ruth, and we're continuing on in the book of Ruth, and we're picking up in chapter 2. Ruth is ready to go to work. Again, we're missing a little time here. Though they arrived in Bethlehem at the time of barley season, it doesn't say how soon she made the decision to go out to look for work. She's going out as a day laborer, as anybody would who is traveling or who is a vagabond or who is poor. You go out and you glean the fields for scraps. So here her plan was in verse 3. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was the kindred of Elimelech. Now, what she knew about Boaz, I don't know. The story don't tell us how she knew Boaz there. It doesn't tell us that. In verse 1, it says, identifies who Boaz is. He is a kinsman of her father-in-law, Elimelech. But it doesn't say that Naomi told her that. Maybe she found that out just from associating with some of the people in the community. That may be how she knew. But she knew where to go. She already had a plan of where she wanted to go, and she ended up there in his field. Boaz is not there at the time he's out on a day journey, and he returns back at some time later in the day, and he greets his servants, who are supervisors over the workers. And he noticed this strange woman in the field and asked, "Who is that?" And they said, "Well, this is Ruth. She's a Moabitess, and she's Naomi's daughter-in-law." Now, he knows who Naomi is. He knows the family. He knows that this is his distant cousin's Elimelech's widowed wife. And in verse 7, the servant says she came to us and asked if she can glean sheaves following after our reapers. Then in verse 8, Boaz said unto Ruth, "Hearest not thou, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go hence, but abide here fast by my maiden. Then let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go after them. I have not charged the young men that they should touch thee. And when thou art thirst, go into the vessel and drink of that which the young men have drawn." And she fell on her face, and she asked him, "Why have you found favor with me? Why are you being so kind?" And he goes on to reveal, "I've heard about you. I've heard the kindness that you have paid to your mother-in-law, and you're sticking by her even after the passing of your husband. You could have stayed with your own family, your mother and your father, where you can be taken care of. But you are in a strange land." Now that's a nice gesture there. This is not just from man to woman. This is people to people. That's a nice gesture. When you know that somebody is in a strange place, a strange city, a strange state, new to the state, in a strange community, just a stranger in your area. When we extend a helping hand to make someone else feel welcome or lighten their load and let them know, "I'm here if you need me." So he is telling her, you have denounced your God and you've come under the Israelite God, whom you decided to fall under his wings and trust in him. Now, he also could have been hitting on her, because there's no end to the game, right? In verse 13, then she said, "Let me find favor in your sight, my Lord, for that thou hast comforted me, and for thou hast spoken kindly and friendly unto thy handmaid, though I be not like thine handmaids," the Israelite women. Now he invites her to a meal in verse 14, and she may be content. It seems like she's pretty satisfied with what she have eaten, but then he wants to try to keep her there in his presence, and he offered her some parched corn just to keep her there in his presence just a little bit longer, and then she eats that and she's returning to work. Then he charged his servants there and says, "Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. Now let some extra fall her way, that she may glean them and reproach her not." So he likes her. So Naomi asks her, where did she find work? And she tells her, in the field of Boaz. Now Naomi reveals who Boaz is now. That he is a near kinsman, a distant kinsman. And now this story shifts. Now these two ladies, maybe Ruth, had already set out after she heard about around the way who Boaz was. Now it's in the ears of Naomi. And Naomi is joining in. In verse 20, and Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord, who have not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said to her, the man is near kin to us, one of our next kinsmen. And Ruth the Moabitess said, he said unto me also, that thou should keep fast by my young men until they have ended all my harvest. And Naomi said to Ruth, it is good, my daughter, that thou stay close to his maiden. So looks like Naomi sees an opportunity here, and Ruth does too. In chapter 3, then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, my daughter, shall not I seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee? Now is not Boaz our kindred, in whose maiden you was? Behold, he winnoweth barley tonight at the threshing floor. And look at this setup right here. It don't sound too good, y'all. This ain't fleshing out too good. The older woman teaching the younger woman. Now the Bible does say that older women should teach the younger women, but it don't say nothing about no schemes. Now this is not godly counsel. Naomi is an Israelite. Just because a person is who they say they are, who we claim we say we are, I'm a child of God, I'm modern day people, I'm a woman of God, I'm a man of God, I'm a Christian. Matters not about titles and what we profess. How do we behave? This is not, when you come to this channel, thank you all for coming and visiting this channel. Again, thank you all for clicking on this channel. I'm never an authority on God's word, and I don't try to project myself as that. I try to pray and ask God to bring information, bring revelation through what I say before I even turn on this camera to record. Let me say what you want me to say. Bring it forward. Let the people hear from you. Not me, not my opinion. I don't want you to have my opinion. I mess me up with my opinion. Why would I give it to you? You can't do nothing with it. We're supposed to ask for godly wisdom. We'll damage each other. I'm not going to defend men. I'm not going to defend women on here. Let's lay it plain. God loves all people. He created the male. He created the female. Why would God create people and hate them? He gives wisdom to all who ask him for wisdom. Because let's go on to what this older woman tells the younger woman to do. She says, wash yourself in verse 3, and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee. Get dressed and fix yourself up, and get thee down to the floor, and make not thyself known to the man, until he shall have done eating and drinking. It shall be when he lieth down, that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet, and lay thee down, and he shall tell thee what to do next. The men will lay down in their place of work. He didn't go home. He's still at the threshing floor. So he's laying down right there. Now he's drunk and he's falling asleep. But they had this type of cloth, maybe like a throw, and he placed over his feet. And she was to go and not lay next head to head with him, but go down to his feet and lay there. Supposed to be in a position of humility, to lay at the end of the spot where he was laying, and just lay there where he can feel your body. If he moves in the middle of the night, he knows somebody's there. In verse 6, and she went to the floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law told her. In verse 8, and it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid, and turned himself, and behold, a woman lay at his feet. And he said, who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art near kinsman. How he was offering her those different gestures of working in his field. He had men and women working out there in those fields, but he noticed a new face. She's definitely a young woman, and much younger than him. We don't see their age here, but she's much younger than him. Verse 10, he says, blessed be thou, O Lord, my daughter, for thou hast shown more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning, inasmuch as thou followest not the young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, fret not. I will do to thee all that thou requirest. For all the city of my people do know it, that thou art a virtuous woman. See how he identified her, a virtuous woman that everybody knows in the city. Say everybody knows about you. You got a good reputation around here. And now it is true that I am your near kinsman, but I am not the nearest. There is one that's closer than me. But stay here tonight. It shall be in the morning that if he will perform unto thee the part of a kinsman, then well, let him do the part of a kinsman. But if he would not do the part of a kinsman to thee, then I will do the part of a kinsman to thee. As the Lord liveth, lie down until the morning. But he tells her in verse 14, he's still trying to cover her because this is not too noble. This is him liking her and trying to cover her decency and keep her dignity. She lay at his feet until the morning, and she rose up before one could know another, before daylight, moving under the cover of darkness. And he said, let it not be known that a woman came unto the floor. She wasn't supposed to be there, and he is trying to cover her. Also, he said, another extended virtue he's looking out for. And he said, that little shawl you got around your neck, bring me that. And he laid 6 measures of barley in it. And she went on into the city. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, who art thou, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done to her. She said, these 6 measures of barley he gave me. For he said to me, go not empty unto your mother-in-law. And normally you see that between an older man and a younger woman with a considerable age difference. It can happen with people of a closer age difference, but normally that's of a large age gap. He mentioned that in verse 10, blessed be thou, O Lord, my daughter. Thou hast shown more kindness in the latter end than in the beginning. He was hitting on her when he first saw her. But talking about how her mother-in-law showed up, Naomi told her to go do something dishonorable when he said, everybody knows you to be a virtuous young woman. So what you're doing right here, that ain't so good. The older women teaching the younger women, what are we telling each other? She told this woman how to go after a man with money. I know Boaz. He's our near kinsman. He's got money. Let me tell you what to do. Get dressed, fix yourself up, put some sweet smelling oil on, and go and lay at his feet. Just lay there. He'll know that you're there at some point. And he had to gather that all up and pull it back together and remind her, the people know you as a virtuous woman. Let me get you out of here under the cover of darkness. Get back on your side of town before people spot you out here in these streets. Now, he could have embarrassed her and set her out. Wait until broad daylight and set her out with those 6 barley loaves. But he didn't. He helped her out because he liked her. Now, you all come back. I hope you're not offended. Let's wrap up the interaction of Ruth and Boaz in chapter 4. Take care, you all. Bye-bye.